Death is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The cemeteries are full of people who've passed from a preventative illness. With the correct approach, you not only extend your chances of preserving your life, but you will improve the quality of your life with a natural approach. The earth provides energy healing herbs for the benefit of mankind.
Hello, I'm Amira Senko for Kwali here at Ask Life Coaching Ministries. We're located at 1921 West Broadway. We've been in the healing business for over 20 years. To order my products, go to www.ask314life.com. I'm available 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Namaste.
You're watching Dr. Amira Sankofa. Hashtag DRASK. Hashtag Queen of Weirdos.
Hi, greetings. Dr. Ask, and I'm definitely here at my wonderful healing center. Well, I'm sorry, my wonderful home abode, not my healing center. Sorry about that. I'm like, what am I talking about? Where do I know where I'm at? Do I know where I'm going to? Do I know what it is? And as you can see, I'm doing solo dolo today because my sister Angel could not make it today. And so we want to send our prayers out to Sister Angel. So let's make sure that we do that. Let's make sure that we give her the love that she deserves. And so we will definitely convene next week. And we will definitely do another movie. This movie we were supposed to do today, but I went ahead and decided. I said, well, hey, it can't really hurt nothing. Let's go ahead and get this video in. We will definitely. And let's make something happen on the terms of this video, and let's do what we do and we do best. And what we do best right here, right now, in this hour, in this moment, we're going to do this video review. I don't want to mess up my outfit by taking off my bracelets, but I'm telling you, they might need to come off. I'm going to keep it real. So we definitely want to get out there and make some things happen, right? So let's talk about the movie. And let me go ahead right now. I'm going to go ahead and send here on my not my YouTube, but what the heck, my Facebook. I can certainly send on my Facebook live and let people know that I am live and to come over here and join me for the festivities in regards to my rendition about what we're going to talk about this dang on movie. Now, give me a second here. Allow me some time to promote myself, which I never, ever, ever really do. Okay. I really don't promote myself the way that I probably should. And so, nevertheless, we're going to do it now. And I just did it. So, hopefully, more people will definitely chime in and watch your girl get her movie off today. So I'm gonna try to share this more maybe on my Twitter account. So just bear with me, y'all, and I'm gonna go ahead and get it pop-a-locking, as they say. So just a second ago, I just had some great food and it was really scrumptious. So had some plant-based eatings today. So give me a second here. I'm gonna do it. Okay, give me a second here. Y'all know I got these nails And y'all know, speaking of which, I actually broke one. I'm so offended that I chipped. See, I chipped one. And these were my festive nails that I wanted to make my granddaughters happy because they love Halloween. Not that I again celebrate Halloween. But today is definitely gonna be a movie in regards to, we were doing the whole scary I grabbed the wrong thing. We were doing the whole scary dairy month because of the fact of Halloween and things like that, and because we both definitely connect on these movies, and we both agree to loving scary movies. Shoot, I can't find my lip gloss. I mean, lip chap. Anyway, it'll be okay. So go ahead and give me a like, please. That'd be nice. I really would appreciate that. Now let's see. If I remember correctly, y'all, I have upgraded my version of YouTube of Stream Yard, so I think I can do some other things here on here. But anyway, I would definitely get involved with that. Okay, let me get my stuff going here. Okay, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Give me a second now. Y'all know I gotta take a little time. I always take a little time. Boom, there we go. That's the information. You can reach my business need. That's my website, my telephone number, just to know, just for you to show, and that's my Cash App. I mean, I really could have not necessarily put my Cash App in there. It's like, yeah, I don't really expect people to really donate. But here and there, I will get people that ask me to donate. And so rather than me always having to just type my Cash App in, I can certainly, boom, just apply it on the screen. Okay. So let's talk about it. Let's freaking talk about it. Let's get into the yin yangs of the situation. Now, if y'all peeped this, if y'all recall, do y'all recall or do y'all remember me talking about this particular movie? I know some of the people, I think we had another movie that Sister Angel wanted to talk about, but we could talk about that next Wednesday. But this particular movie was called Bad Hair. Now, let's talk about all the people. First of all, I had like a 80s. It was supposed to be centered around 1989, okay? And of course, 1989, you all know that was like the start of, I don't want to say it was the start of rap music because it was not. Rap music had been around since like the 70s, like damn near close to the 60s, okay? Because actually, poetry and scatting and jazz and expression yourself certainly came way before then, right? So, but what I'm saying is the era where rap music got popular. Let's say that. Can we use those terms? Where rap music became to be more mainstream, okay? And so, of course, the music industry was definitely no longer just taking rap music like they did disco music, because disco music was like a particular era in the 80s. So right after the disco era, then hip hop started coming along, right? Yeah, I peeped it because first, like right toward the end of disco music, there began hip hop music, right? Now first of all, let me take these bracelets off. Yeah, I just want y'all to see my flavor before I take them off because they really get on my nerves. See? All right, check my flavor. Boom. Look at my necklace. Look at my neck. Yeah. Okay, take it off. All right. Anyway, so let's get with this. Okay, so Bad Hair. This is something that Sister Angel does. Let's talk about first the cast of Bad Hair. Now, we know that it had, let's see, the character Anna, okay, and she was played by Ella Lorraine, and Kelly Rowland also played in the film. She was featured. She had, cameos shots throughout, right? And her character was Sandra, okay? And then, of course, you had Lena, which played Brooke Lynn, okay? So she certainly had a funny cameo. Well, she she was a character actually in the film, and I did her character was kind of funny though. I have to be honest. Okay, and then they had Justin, which played Reggie, and then you had Usher, who played Jermaine D. Okay, and Vanessa Williams, of course, right? Vanessa Williams, yes, as Zora. Okay, and then you had and then of course you had the hairstylist that initially did the lady's hair, uh, and her name, of course, was Miss Cox. And she played Virgie. Okay, and then you had Blair Underwood who played Almost, which was L's uh freak. I don't want to, well, he adopted her. I do know what that was her father. Let's go with that. That was her father, okay? And then of course you had Jay Farrow, okay, and he played Julius, which was the love interest of Ella as well as Vanessa Williams. But that's a whole nother story, right? But anyway, you had a lot of great people in the movie as well. I'm not getting ready to name every dang on body, but I will also talk about Judith Scott, who played Edna, and she was the young lady that worked. That was the supervisor originally for our main character. So, and then of course you had I think I want to say Rosalind, who played, which is Ashley Blaine Featherson. She was the sister. She played the sister of our main character. Okay. But anyway, y'all, it had a lot of folks in here. Then you have, of course, you had James Van, and he played Grant. Okay, so let's get into it, y'all. Okay, let me make sure. Let me see what's going on. Okay, how you doing, Ocean? You mean all right? Now, let's get back to it. Now, as we look through, of course, and I barely recognized. I barely recognize some of these folks. Vanessa Williams, you can turn her out of a crowd. You can see her miles and miles away, and you know, hey, that's Vanessa Williams. And by the way, here is my sea moss. By the way, y'all go to my website and certainly order that. This is my sea moss tea, and it's thumping. I really enjoy it. Now, originally, when the first cup that I had, it did flush me out, but then after that, I didn't have any other flushes. It's pretty good though. I enjoy it. Okay. Woo! Has a bit of a kick to it. Okay. Anyway, so again, I stated to you how this was shot during the 1989. And the ambitious young woman, of course, she gets to weave in order to succeed. Because again, okay, so how it starts off is that the particular supervisor, which I named earlier, the young lady, basically does not necessarily like the direction in which the company was going in, so she decided to create her own. So she stepped down. So she went ahead and stepped down, and she let them know that she would also be on site to consult her if they need anything. So, and then it opened up with the young lady, of course, Elle, her character, Elle, which, of course, you know, she has this natural hair. Well, I'm sorry. Let's go back because I skipped the whole thing. Okay, Okay, so what happened was she was at home with her older sister, and you know, she did a lot of radio. She did like I don't know if you all ever did that back in the day, but I used to. where you would have like a cassette player and you would listen to music and DJ it somewhat. Everybody probably at one point in time wanted to be a DJ or VJ or anything like that. So she basically tape recorded herself and saying that, you know, she was getting ready to get her hair done and it was going to be popping and yada, yada, yada. So her sister, which was putting a permanent or relaxer in her hair, because everybody on here, if you've ever had a relaxer, I'm sure everybody on here has had a bad relaxer. Okay, I know I have. Raise your hands in the air and wave it if you just don't care if you had a bad relaxer. I know I have, and I have not always been natural, right? I've had spurts of being natural and then going back to the relaxer, okay? And so from there, of course, your doctor experienced some bad haircut. Hello there. Hello, Willie. You remember those days? Yeah. So this just took me back. First of all, the movie took me back to my childhood, but let's get back into it, okay? All right, so what happened from there? So here they go doing this hair. She's doing her hair and it started burning. It reminds me of the movie Malcolm X, when Malcolm X's hair was burning. He was like, Shorty, this is her burning now. This hair's burning now. And the water wasn't working and he wind up having to stick his head in the toilet bowl. But that's another, scenario, right? So from there, what happened was this guy with this young lady. So she's getting her hair done. She's doing it. She's doing it big to her hair. And she's like, yeah, it's going to be cute. And she's like, it's burning. And so she put her head down and she started trying to put the neutralizer in. Y'all know about that neutralizer, right? Y'all know about that neutralizer. Do y'all recall that neutralizer? Whoop. So when you put it, usually you'll wash the perm out your hair. Then when you put the neutralizer in, it's supposed to relax. It's supposed to give it that laid and fried to the side look, okay? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about. He did some news and some DJ stuff with those tapes and CDs. Yes, we all have, right? We all have, Willie. Anyway, so from there, this lady is like, oh my God, the little girl is like, oh my God. So her sister noticed all her chunks of hair is sort of coming out. And of course, her parents are coming in the house like, hello, girls, are you there? Like wrong timing, the worst timing, because you're ready to get your butt toe up, but of course they didn't show that. But then they boom, 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 they go to years later. And she's working at this record company. She's working for this, well, not record company, but she's working for this like MTV wannabe situation, okay? And of course it was white owned, but it had voices of Black people because they had a Black sector, right? They had a Black sector. So of course they're like, hey, this is great. And so of course, as I went back, because I kind of forward passed, let's go back into it. And so the guy, the character, what was his name? Let's go back to his name. What was his character? His character was named, I forgot the dude's name just that fast. And I tried to give y'all as many people as I could think of. James Von Deer's big character, okay? His character's name was Grant, okay? And so with Grant, right? So Grant basically told her like, hey, we're going to go into a new direction. He went ahead and hired Vanessa Williams' character, which is Zora. So he went ahead and hired Zora, and Zora was this, of course, I know how Vanessa Williams looked. Yeah, who could forget Vanessa Williams? But anyway, she's a light-skinned female. And of course, many of the people who worked in this company, a lot of the VJs or the producers were what? Had natural hairstyles, right? They had locks, afros, not locks, but they had what we used to call them back in the day, dookie braids, right? So they had superficial he was too, right? So they had dookie braids, those braids. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Back in the day, we used to call them dookie braids, right? I don't know why we call them dookie braids, but whatever. because they really weren't Dookie like, right? They were really pretty. But anyway, so of course he's looking at all these black women with these natural hairstyles, and then even on down to and then the one of their big stars on the show was Julius, which was Jay Farrell's character, right? Julius. And so of course he is like, okay, so he's brushing his weak ass fade, of course. Bantu knots, yes. And so he's brushing his little weak ass fade. Y'all remember that from y'all remember that from Poetic Justice, right? Anyway, he's brushing it, and that girl's talking about it. And of course, our main character, Elle, is kind of seeing him on the side, okay? She's getting it in a little bit, right? And so from there, they're discussing the new direction of the company. And of course, Vanessa Williams' character is calling them all in so she can interview them and try to see where they fit in. She's resizing the company up, Zora. She's resizing it up. And of course, she called in our favorite character, our main character. She comes in and she already is prepared. She already has this notebook. Let me pull out one of my notebooks on my stuff. She has this notebook and she pulls it out and she's like, look at this. This is what I got. I got all this information. Here you go. This is what will do the company much better than what it's supposed to. And we will see the numbers. And then the last thing, Zora asked Elle, she said, hey, who does your hair? She's like, I do it, And so she said, here, she gave her secretary or her new secretary, because she was the original assistant and she did produce it. She did a lot of things, but she never really got promoted with the first young lady I was just telling you about. Okay. So of course she did she gave her the car. So she goes to this mysterious shop. She shows up, she goes in, she's like, wow, okay. Cool. Okay. So she goes in. She's like, look, I don't have. And so, of course, she's avoiding her landlord. Meanwhile, she's avoiding her landlord because she does not. Oh, this is a spoiler, by the way. I'm giving y'all spoilers. Okay. So if you have not seen this movie, I'm trying not to give it all away. So she goes in to see because she didn't even, how those days, and y'all, let's go back to those days of when you when you try to avoid paying your rent, you know what I mean? If you try to act like you're not there, or the electric people come knock on your door, or the electric people call you and say you need to pay this bill and you don't answer your phone. Don't play like I never did that. Okay. All right. At some point in time, I'm sure we all have avoided somebody by paying the bill, or somebody you owe somebody money. I don't like owing people money. That's something different, but definitely paying the bill, right? So, of course, she avoided. She didn't open her door. She didn't say anything, and she cut her TV off. Right? So she cuts her TV off, and so she goes in this deal, right? And acting like she's not there. So meanwhile, she goes over to her parents' house or her aunt and uncle, what have you. And I guess they raised her. So she wound up talking to them, and they got into this heated discussion about these books, talking about these books and talking about how our heritage is important and this and that, and just getting into hair and talking about hair or whatever. And so her father is a professor or something, and he, of course, give her this book that he wanted her to read, and she was like, whatever. And he's like, please just take it. So she takes it, and of course, she leaves and she goes to this and her sister's there, and of course, and she made the statement about everybody having these before leaving the home, and him giving her the book. Prior to that scene, she said something about believing in black tales, black lores, right? Of old slavery folklores and things like that. And so she, of course, gets into things about everybody being a PhD and how could they really believe any of that. And so he's like, it's true. And so he gets angry and he kind of gets passionate, but he does later apologize to her about it. And he just lets her know, sorry about that, because I'm always in teacher mode and I shouldn't be in teacher mode with you, which I thought was really, I understand where he was coming from, but I did appreciate that as a father. I think he didn't mean it in the way that it came off. So nevertheless, so she has this card, and she's, before she leaves, also she tells her mother that she's kind of behind. They raised the rent for no reason in the middle of the month, and she's already paid her rent to like $500. So of course she gives her some money. She said, this is my stash, don't you say nothing, and it is what it is, and just pay me back when you get, you know, on your feet, because she did tell them about the new promotion that she's gonna get or whatever. So she has this business card, okay, and so she goes around and she's on the bus line. Of course, this is New York, right? It's assumably feels like it's New York, but whatever. So just imagine New York in the 80s and how hip hop is developing. Y'all can just kind of go back to that energy, okay? If you all, you know, I'm telling you my age now. If you all experience when you first got your first hip hop tape, and when you first, we didn't really call it hip hop back then. We just was like, you know, rap. When you first got your rap tape, it wasn't like, well, it was hip hop, it wasn't, well, where we were from. I'm from St. Louis. We didn't really say hip hop, hip hop. We just was like, yeah, got that rap tape, got that new, you know, got that new Easy E, got that KRS-One, got that Run DMC. You know what I mean? So just go back to that and go back to Five Freddy, and when they first had these shows coming up, and how we were excited and we were rushing it home from school to go and pay attention and see these shows, and how excited we was, because, you know, they already had MTV, and how MTV would just play rock and music, alternative music, and all different type of music besides our music and what we consider to be like really popping. Okay, so oh my goodness, so just imagine that time. Okay, so this is the era I'm talking. Okay, this is the energy and the feeling I want y'all to get. And I should have wore some of my 80s clothes, but I forgot. Anyway, so let's go back. We rhyme. So when you go back to this energy, so she steps off the bus, and it's this shop. This is like a standard shop, but it's a unique feel to it, okay? And Laverne is what I was trying to say. The character, what was the character's name? Well, I totally forgot the character's name, but I'm getting ready to tell y'all. Yeah, Laverne's character, I think was it Virgie? Laverne Cox's character. And of course, they're doing the hair. You know, she's seeing our main character, Elle, is seeing all these women coming out of there with these weaves and looking all weaverish and weaverlicious. They just walking out, you know, just walking in the place and setting it off with all this weave and this long hair, and just showing everything and showing how exciting they are, and how, ooh, you know what I mean? And they get more likes and more energy, more attention, and more satisfying gratifications, right? With the weave, what they think. So of course, she's like, man, all I got. The lady was like, well, how much is it gonna cost? The receptionist basically was like, what do you want? You know, she's like, yeah, I would like to get my hair done. I want to get, you know, weaved up or whatever. And she's like, I could see that. You know, of course she's going to do a snide remark if the girl got natural hair, okay? So, by the way, she's obviously going to be tender-headed, because remember, I told you all about the burn that she got real bad. She got burnt real bad. So she hadn't touched perms, assumably, ever since. So of course she got this like mark in her head, about right here in the middle of the back of her head, okay? And it's like one of those burns. She legitimately got burned, right, from that bad relaxer, right? So she's like $450 to get the weed. She's like, man, you know that's a car note, right, y'all? Now maybe some of y'all, I've never paid $450 for her style. Now just, you know, that's too far, child. That's too much. Anyway, so she's like, okay, the money that I got to pay my rent with. I can't do that, because again, I recall in telling you, well, I didn't tell y'all, was that she was actually an intern originally. Okay. So she started off as an intern. Okay. So let me go back. Y'all know what interns are, right? Right. So going back. So she's just like, look, closed mouth don't get fed. So she got aggressive. She went in to see the character of Laverne's character, Virgie, and she's like, look, have you ever had a dream? Have you ever saw something that you really, wanted to do and you didn't want to accept no and yada, yada, yada? And she was like, okay, your passion, cool, I do it. So meanwhile, she goes to sleep and has this dream. And Laverne character, Virgie, wakes her up like, hey, ready? So she goes back to choose her hair. I don't know if you all, I'm glad you're listening. I don't know if you all ever, had, like, I used to wear ponytail weaves, and I probably wore a weave technically during my prom. I don't ever really remember getting a weave, but I've had like ponytail weaves and then, getting braids and things like that. So I've done stuff like that. Okay. So she goes back. Virgie takes her back to the back where all of the weaves are. And she says, yes, they say that these weaves have natural powers to them. And she's like, oh, really? And of course, she goes past different weaves and walk past, and she hearing like, and she's like, okay. So she said, oh, you found her. So she said, yes. So she slaps the weave on her head. And of course, while she's doing it, the girl's already tender-headed. So as she braided up, y'all remember back in the day, they still do it, I guess, because I saw some, and she's braiding her up in this beehive and braiding every braid. She got, she's tender-headed like a child. Whoa, I'm tender-headed too. That's why I don't like everybody doing my hair. And so she's doing her hair. She's doing it. And she braids it up. And then finally she stops to read it. She said, oh. And so she gives her this elixir for her hair. She said, every time, don't get it. She said, one thing you want to do is never get your hair wet. Now, what I didn't tell y'all is at the beginning of the film, you see Kelly Rowland's character. And her character name was Sandra. And she, of course, was this famous person in the, she was a singer or artist. And Usher, of course, was like her, I guess it was like a Cardi B and Offset type of energy, right? I guess he was some type of artist too. So he's all in the video. And so they magically show up in the shop like, hey, I thought you were gonna be done. She's like, well, she's done, so come on, sit down. And she said, yeah. And Kelly Rowland character also alluded to, hey, don't get it wet either. And she said, don't get your hair wet. Now recall that, y'all remember, don't get your hair wet. So she leaves, she walks out. She looks like a whole nother person. She's like, oh, I'm so beautiful. She's looking at herself in her, and she feels like her hair is the hair has its own personality almost, I know my locks do. I don't know about your hair, but my locks have their own personality. So that's another story I have to tell y'all about. But anyway, so she, of course, goes home. Her sister shows up. Her sister's like, hey, dang, what happened? Don't let father see that. My mother will like it, but don't let father see that about her hair. And she's like, wow, okay. And so keep in mind that her sister already has like long hair, and she was basically trying to be like her sister and get hair like she did back in the day, right? So of course she shows up at work the next day, and she walks around. They're like, wow, look at you, woo. And so, of course they're having this business meeting, and they're discussing the new look. Basically, they're wanting them to get weaves, and they're wanting them to change the Afrocentricity, the culture aspect. So they even changed the show name, the name of the network. Okay. So of course, Pharaoh's character, what was his name? I forgot his name that quick. His character, or should I say character? his character, Julius basically wanted to dump her. He dumped her or whatever, and he just kept it moving. Basically, he started seeing someone else. So Vanessa Williams kind of let it out the back when she brought her in to talk to her, because she felt like our main character Elle felt like Julius was getting favoritism. And she said, why? Because I'm effing him. Yeah, so they was smashing or whatever. So they was getting it in. So she let her know. And so of course she goes to his dressing room. Elle goes to Julia's dressing room and curses him out and goes in. And he's like, yes, I like the fire. And he's like, oh, well. And so they're from there. And of course, now she got this new weave. So he's like, yeah, I got these games. And would you like to go and see this with me? And she's just like, whatever. So she goes home. And of course, her sister comes by, brings her food, and they're talking or whatever. And as she is eating the food, I'm sorry, let me go back to when her sister came over. This is the same time frame. I just kind of skipped around it. And so her hair starts eating up all the ketchup. Really gross, right? And she's not paying attention. She's like this. Her hair just soaking it in. Her hair, this is the plate, this is her hair, and it just kind of does like this and soaks up all the ketchup. And so she's like, wow, no big deal. She don't know about it. So right after sister leaves, she hears someone comes in, and it's her landlord. So her landlord basically attempts to rape her. And so her hair, having its own personality, gets to messing them up and poking holes in him and sucking his blood out and draining them. And then, of course, she threw the body out. And long story short, she's just like, oh, I'm distraught. I killed someone with my hair. So she realizing this hair got some magical powers. Now, Virgie already told you that this hair has magical powers. So I don't think she took seriously. I mean, didn't she hear that hair talking? I heard the hair talking. Didn't y'all hear the hair talking? Didn't we all hear the hair talking? Okay. So how did she not hear it? But anyway, whatever. Man. Anyway, so she goes to this, like I said, going back to the meeting. And then, of course, she's trying to talk her friends. And these girls are her co-worker / friends, And so she goes into trying to talk to them in regards to, changing their hairstyle and yada, yada, yada. And it's just temporary and it's just hair, right? Just hair, right? So they talked about the folklore. So going back to the folklores, after she killed him, she began to start thinking about it. It's like, man, maybe this is true. Obviously, duh. So then they have this like new party, this little party. What do they call it? What do they call this party? They have this little party where they're doing an announcement about the new network and about everything that's going on. And of course, one of the things, her rise to fame, was she definitely wanted to be a VJ again. She definitely wanted to be able to host her own show and to do her thing and, to be noticed. And she liked hip hop, right? She's been doing this her whole life, right? And plus, she knows how to produce. She knows how to write. She knows how to do all that. So why wouldn't she? Didn't it make sense to have her show? I thought so. But because she didn't have the so-called right look, they wasn't giving it to her. So anyway, so she goes to this show and she sees her old boss, and her old boss is making these snide remarks because she did try to call her and she never did call her boss back. Okay. See Moss. Get it, www.ask314.com. Without further ado. All right. So what happened was, so after that, she's going to this party. She invites her upstairs to show her the office space and how it's changed. And of course, she's making these remarks about, hey, I tried to call you. And she's like, well, you wasn't trying to advance me. She said, but I tried to call you, whatever. And she was trying to get out. And the hair, of course, was getting angry. Excuse me. Here you go. Woo! What the heck am I sneezing for? Anyway, so y'all. So then she goes from there. I have been outside. This is my, by the way, this is my spray that I made up for myself, and this is my air freshener. I love it. Anyway, so, and it's on www.ask314.com. Anyway, so from there, they go upstairs and she's kind of talking. They're kind of doing a jarring, reading each other back and forth. And she's telling her how she didn't advance her. And she was saying, hey, I called you, but you never answered my calls. And she's trying to get out the door and there's a new code. So she finally gets out and the hair is getting angry. The hair is like, wait a minute, we're going to check this girl. We're going to check her. So from there, she finally gets out. Okay, she finally gets out. And then from there, she goes downstairs. And so she, of course, sees. So now everybody's noticing her. So while she's at this party, everybody's noticing her. And she's talking. And she finally meets the head of the company, because originally in the first part of the movie, he bumps into her and looks at her like she's crazy and just keeps it moving, doesn't even acknowledge her, doesn't even say excuse me or anything. So now all of a sudden he knows her name, and that's the Greg character, the owner of the company. Okay, so of course he now notices her and they're introducing her. He's like, oh, okay. And Vanessa Williams later on is shown arguing with her new love interest, Julius, which was her old thing, right? So she's arguing with him and they're going back and forth. They having this conversation and she's like, stop looking at other chicks. Where have you been? I've been looking for you. But he did dip off with this white chick, right? So they kind of probably got it on at the party, you know. So, and she's like, hey, let's get together. So he's like, well, hey, why don't you come? And so she's outside, she's smoking his cigarette. And he was like, I thought you stopped smoking. And before, and this was prior, this meantime, let me go back. So when he was outside arguing with Vanessa Williams got in her car and jetted and left his behind right there, standing there like a ghost. She ghosted him. Right? Y'all know what a ghosted means. That's the young people say, the ghosted nigga. She ghosted him, right? So she ghosted him. And so he walks off. And so he sees her smoking. She's doing her. Well, he's like, I thought you stopped smoking. And he's like, let me get it off of, let me bum it off. And she took it. He took it, smoked it. And he's like, why don't you come back to my place? She's like, what? I don't want to go back to your place with her. She's like, why don't you go back to my place? So she was like, all right. So then they started kissing and kissing and cuddling and cuddling and cuddling. And then they got Bucky naked. And they got to smashing. And she's on them, riding. Okay, I'm doing too much. Anyway, she's riding them, right? No, so she humping and sweating. They humping and sweating and humping and sweating and pushing, right? So from there, right, her hair. So she was like, tell me this. Tell me that you like this person. Tell me why you left me. Tell me, am I the best? And he's like, yes, you're the best. You're the best. So he on the bottom going. And she got these, you know, she gave him this, y'all know what I'm talking about, those little blinders. She gave him the little blinders. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't sleep with those. I can't. I can't sleep with those at all. That would drive me crazy. I would be freaking out. Can't sleep with those. I don't know how people do it. But nevertheless, he's on the bottom like this. With the blinders on his eyes. The blinders on his eyes. She just hopping, locking on. She's hopping, he's on the bottom. She's hopping, he's on the bottom. She's hopping, he's on the bottom. And she's talking crazy to him. She's telling him, hey, you know what? What is it? Do you like me? Who do you like best? And this yours, and this good, or whatever, you know, the stuff that some of y'all little nasty selves say when y'all in the bedroom. I ain't gonna get into that. I did enough. Okay? So after she does that, her hair, let's go back to her hair. Her hair is like, boom. Then they had like she broke a glass on the table. I'm surprised. I don't know how in the hell he did not hear the glass being broken on the table. That's what I wants to know. How did he not hear the glass being broken on the table? But nevertheless, his dumb self didn't hear it. So she broke the glass on a wine glass and just stabs him. Okay. So after she stabs him, you know what happened, y'all? Do you know what happened? Do y'all know what happened? Let's have that real conversation. Let's have a real conversation. Real conversation. After she stabs him, the hair starts sucking the blood. And she just like, ah! So the hair got really long, just like it did with the landlord, just like she killed the landlord. So she kills him. She's terrified, leaves. She goes back to the office, and Vanessa Williams' character is there. Zora is there. And Zora's like, is your hair doing stuff? Because when she walks in, she's seen one of the girls, one of her friends. Okay, before I go there, let me see. I'm walking before I crawling. Okay, I'm trying to walk and not crawl. Let me crawl. Let me go back to my crawling. Let me come back. Reverse. Okay. So what happened? After she did that, she's like terrified. She's freaking out. She's like, oh my God. So, of course, she goes back and she's looking up. She's thinking about some things. And she's like, man, I killed a boy. So, of course, she tries to make this phone call and she calls her father. And she's asking her father about the folklore. And she started trying to do more research upon that. And then of course, she goes and they're like, well, you guess what? We can't find. So what happened from there? Then she goes and tries to get the hair cut out. Okay. She's just like, look, I'm just going to get this hair cut out. So she goes to MC Light character. I forgot what her name was. And I don't feel like looking it up. Okay. Because I didn't even mention it. So she goes. So, MC Light is standing there. Okay, this is definitely an ode to the 80s. Okay, all right. So she's braiding up, trying to do her hair, and she's like, that tender-headed stuff, right? And then she notices her beautician. I mean, not her beautician. I'm sorry. Then she notices that while MC Light is trying to do her hair, she notices that old girl is in there. She noticed that the young lady that she was working from, her old boss, her mentor, who was mentoring her. Okay, she was in there. Her character was in there, and her character was basically like Edna. And she was like, Edna, I didn't know you went here. If you would have known you went here, I would have never came in here. And of course, she's talking to her. She's trying to apologize to her. And she said, girl, it's okay. I understand. You got to do what you got to do. And then they laugh and they're talking about, well, I would have got me a wig too. And of course, Edna has locks. She has like those really thin, pretty sister locks. What they call them, sister locks, I guess. But they're real pretty, So she's standing there and she's just like, look. So of course she started cutting the hair out, and then she tried to cut it out. The hair started attacking everybody. So it's one lady that's supposed to be doing Edna's hair that's in the back arguing with her boyfriend or whatever. And so she comes up, and of course she get done. Everybody get killed in the shop except for the lady, the owner of the hair, our main character, Elle. So she walks out. She goes up to the office building and where she works at. She sees Vanessa Williams' character, and before she could walk in good, she notices one of her homies dead. All like this, slummed over, and she knows her dad. Peace, how you doing, Niedermeyer? And so she notices that she's dead. She's like, dang, what happened? And Vanessa Williams like, look, well, she came in here demanding stuff, so I don't know, my hair attacked her. What you want? And she's like, this ain't no. She's like, well, do you know how did this happen? And why is this happening? She's like, I don't know. I don't have a support group for bad weaves. So basically, and so she's like, well, what do? We got to do something. And long story short, the hair started attacking Vanessa Williams, and then it got to the point where her hair started attacking her. So she's like, wow. So she leaves out. She runs out. Vanessa Williams is dead. Okay. attacked by her, kill her on the loose, kill her. Woo! Right? So then the next day happens. Okay. Now our hair done killed how many people? Do we have a body count? Enough. Okay. Your hair is bad. Okay. Your hair is evil. So she goes back. And then she goes to work and, she's like, where's Zora? Have you seen Zora? She's like, no. And she's looking shocked and she's crying. Zora's assistant asking, Elle, have you seen Zora? She's like, no. And she started crying and she's like, well, you got a host because number one, she done killed 2 hosts, right? The black guy, Julius, and Zora's missing, and then her one friend that does the little street. So anyway, they're on there, they're doing their thing, and after the show, she did really good. Everybody loved her. Her weave is popping, she's looking weevilicious. And so after then, she knows nobody around. And so she's and she goes into another room and all the weaves is all joined together and they, taking over. So basically the weaves is trying to possess them. So as she started doing her research, she found that the weaves are like little witches waiting. And what they do is they attack people when it's back from slavery, when people was cutting hair. And it deals with the weave having power, and it's just witches, yada yada yada. Y'all have to see the movie in order to appreciate it. I'm not gonna tell y'all everything. I done told y'all a lot, okay? So long story short, so we get to the end. Remember when I told you the part when he said don't about the weave, don't make sure that and I'm skipping a lot because I want to tell y'all everything, okay? So when she gets to the end, do y'all recall? She went back into the office. Do y'all recall when I told y'all about don't get the hair wet? That was the main thing to stress. So of course she pulls out this cigarette. She finds a gun underneath the studio, one of the studios, and find out the gun is actually a lighter. So she lights a cigarette, sits back, and then boom, 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 she gets a bright idea. She puts the lighter up to the y'all know what I'm talking about. Jeez, I can't even think about it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Shoot, I can't even think shoot. To the fire system, waterproof the fire system. The extinguisher. And so of course all the water runs down. Y'all know I can't think right now. Of course, the water sprinklers. Sorry, excuse me. I'm tripping. Okay, so she puts it up to the water, and of course the sprinkler puts it up next to the sprinklers. And of course, what does the sprinklers do when it knows that it's around some extraneous heat? Of course, it pours out water, right? So all the water comes down, and then the hair is like, fire sprinklers. Yeah, fire sprinklers. I said water sprinklers. Yeah, the fire sprinklers. Yes, ma'am. Correct. Thank you. My brain got at a loss because I started thinking about some other stuff. Anyway, that's what I do when I get to a video. I'm not doing the Wendy Williams. Yeah, I know I do this all the time, so don't be tripping. So from there, the hair starts, being defeated, and then she starts cutting all the hair out. And give me a second here, y'all. I have a client. Okay, great. I had to reschedule appointment. Yes, okay. So now I can probably have a little more time with you all. Anyway, so once the water comes down on the hair start getting defeated. So she start cutting all the weave out. So it's over. It flashes back to the end where she's talking to her sister. And her sister, she moves in with her sister. She leaves the apartment. She has this one lady walking up, and of course she has weave, and everybody will weave. Y'all know y'all do like this. I even with natural hair do like this. Y'all see somebody do it like that. So anyway, she leaves her apartment. She moves in with her sister, and her sister was like, "Girl, I got a hair appointment today. And I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm tired of wearing, doing my hair. I'd rather somebody else do it." So long story short, I guess assumably her sister's getting ready to get her weave done. So the end. So, all right. So what I want to, y'all have any questions or any other movies y'all would like Sister Angel and myself to check out? See my www.ask314life.com is written there. See my team. This is my sage. It's not going to be as big for my air freshener that I have poppy locking now. However, keep in mind, this is natural, and this is not the bottle. This is not the size bottle you're getting. This is my own personal bottle. Okay. Get off my back. And also, I do have different oils. You won't be getting this size, but I definitely have different oils that I made up. This is just a batch I made up for some of my oils. So, do we have any questions or any other movies that you all would definitely like? Sister Angel will be resuming next Wednesday. So, do you guys have any other movies that you all would like us to do a review on? But anyways, with that said, so while y'all thinking about that, what would I rate this movie out of 5? I would give it a 5. The movie was really good. It definitely, I did connect to it because in my day, it was a lot of girls wearing weevables. And of course, my hair was not, it was not as long. I mean, I was wearing the stacks and different things. And, especially with a lot of us were women and men too. Men also go through hair changes, okay? We can't just say women, okay? Because you all had the high top fades. You had the low haircuts. You have locks. You get braids also. So a lot of the hairstyles we have had, you all have had the finger waves, the freezes. Nowadays, men are getting weaves. I've seen men with weaves. I see that they'll take a man from having a George Jefferson into having a full-blown box, and it's like, how did they make that hair? But, many of us have a relationship with our hair. I have a relationship with my hair too, and I have days where I'll be like, God, sometimes I'll be wanting to go back to afro, and then some days I want to, change my locks, and I wish my locks were thinner. And sometimes I wish my locks were thicker. And sometimes I wish different things with my hair. I wish I could just wear it a certain kind of way, in a different way, or put my hair up in an updo, or I could do different things with my locks. And I've always wanted to have a diverse hairstyle, and my hair it can be diverse because of the way that I have it. I mean, these are straight locks. And yeah, your hair could be a battle. And sometimes how you feel is sometimes a reflection of your hair at different times, especially if you have that kind of relationship with your hair. What was that song by Eni I'm Not My Hair? You see it too, Oshun? I am not my hair. I am not the skin, Anyway, so there are many different, so it definitely had a good point to the movie, and I definitely think it's worth you all watching, especially, if you're melanated and you have a certain hair battle. It could be for anybody, but I think it would definitely hold home if you have a hair battle. If you have battle with your hair at some point in time. It is quite funny because men don't talk about that life with their hair. Well, yeah, they do have a life with their hair because they go to boxes, bald heads, waves, short haircuts. Especially the corona would definitely You miss your locks sometimes. I understand. See, that's why I don't want to cut them. I don't, because I know it does something to you when you do it. I don't want to cut my locks, but I definitely want to do something. I want to do something a little bit differently with my hair, and I go through that. Today was one of those days where I want to do something differently with my hair. Today, I'm like, man, I don't, because some days I just put water on it and just brush it down and wear it like that. I like the length of my hair, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes the twisting and the, sometimes I just want to free form. I mean, you just go through so many different things. Now I cover my hair as I'm getting older. Yeah, it's like that. But I mean, I don't want to cover it all the time. I just don't feel like I cover it before I go to sleep. When I'm around the house, I cover it. But yeah, I got gray all around here. I mean, it's what it is. I don't think I'm dying it no time soon. But yeah, we see Moss T, www.ask314.com. So yeah. So I don't know. I thought the movie was pretty good. I can definitely relate to it. I'm a 70s baby, and the 80s and the 90s was definitely gear in music. It was definitely a phenomenal. And when rap really got mainstream for many of us, and our culture, we started to be more culture and African centered, and there was a lot of diversity. And it was some people that wore weave, it was some people that wore stacks, it was some people that wore natural hair. I mean, it was all different types of hair. It wasn't really one type, right? So that's what I like. Thank you. I appreciate that, Oshun. Thank you for a compliment of my hair. So yeah. So it was a lot of things that was going on during that movie. And thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of things going on in that movie. I think that, that's important. That I think, we can get, anybody can get a lot out of. And I think it was definitely worthy of a great watch. So let's see what else. What did I like most about the movie? That I could relate to it, that it took me back to my childhood. I enjoyed the actors. I thought all the actors and actresses did really good as far as acting. There wasn't a character that, even the extras in the movie, I paid attention to them as well. So I think it was well written. Let's do a little background on the movie. Do we have a background? On the movie? Let's see. I pretty much told you what they said it was about. Okay, so let's see who the writers are. Okay, so the one guy I was telling you about, Justin. Justin was the writer for this show. And let's see what else. Okay, let's see what people said about it. Okay, and so this movie came out during Sundance in January 2020, January 23rd, 2020. And of course, they re-released it this month on Hula Hoop. So if y'all want to see the movie, y'all can go to Hula Hoop and watch it. The budget was $8.9 million on the movie. Okay. This is considered a horror film, of course. And this was also the director who wrote Dear White People. Okay. So this would not be a surprise. I mean, of course, this wouldn't be a surprise or a shocker that this would be this type of movie. Let's see what are the reviews on this movie. Let's see what other people. I enjoyed it. Now Let's see. Okay, y'all, give me a second here. I'm trying to find some reviews. Let's see. Let's see what they say. Some of the reviews, they said it was a B movie. I thought it was pretty good, but whatever.
So we are at.
They said it was like they felt like it was a B movie. I did not. I thought it was pretty good, but hey. Let's see. So this came okay, hold on. Now, why does it take so long to go down? I'm on my back book, y'all. And okay, let me just type in reviews. It's taking way too long for me to get there. Okay. I mean, it looks like it's some mixed reviews on the movie. So I don't really care what they think. I'm just sharing it with you all for that purpose. I'm just showing it with you all. I mean, okay, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes and see what Rotten Tomatoes say. Let's go there. They give it a 65 out of 30 and good. Looks like 35 bad. So 65 people, 65% of people enjoyed it, and 35% of, excuse me, let's go back. I'm sorry, pulled up right. Okay, so 65 people thought it was all right, and the audience scored tomato meter was 65%, and the audience scored 53%. Okay. All right. Let's see what they say. Okay, someone says she's out of Los Angeles. Someone says, I love this movie. It was so weird, small, strange, and fun. Boom, B movie. But while the comedy aspects of the Sundance stands out, works in parts, the horror of all surrenders from naughty reason and unclear thesis. Yeah, I disagree. Another person says, if bad hair feels overstuffed and ultimately slight when it comes to its central conceit around hair, at very least, it still was a fun ride. Okay. Despite potential heavy or heavy-handed material, bad hair self-consciously and pleasing camping. Really needs a loud live audience, probably around the midnight to reach full potential. Okay. The first black horror film in the wake of Get Out to match the film's ambition with style. A worthy effort from dear white people. Okay. All right. Well, Justin, I thought it was pretty good. I wish Justin would definitely take a lot of our culture phenomenies and put it on film and put it to a film, and I think that's really good. So Ashun, you mean? 90s hair was a good salt and pepper look. Yep. Yes. Well, 80s too. Yes, like the group Arrested Development. Yes. I think it was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. I like seeing movies like that. It was definitely different. It definitely reminded and made me reflect a lot about my childhood, especially during the time of MTV really starting to show more black shows, and BT being more consciously aware in comparison in the way it is. I miss those days, to be honest with you all. To really tap into that energy, I really miss the days of how consciously aware TV was, and how, you know, political issues were being discussed. And it's a lot. And don't get me wrong, we had a lot of sex selling things that was going on, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. I mean, you had a choice. Now it's kind of drowned and drained down your throats, as opposed to now. So I appreciate the way it used to be, and I know that, it is what it is, right? So yeah. So without further ado, I really don't have much else to say, because we're going in 70 minutes, and I'm like an hour and 10 minutes, and I don't want to go too long. But anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all for coming in to my live and definitely showing me some love. And I really appreciate that energy. And I want y'all, before y'all go,
Death is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The cemeteries are full of people who've passed from a preventative illness. With the correct approach, you not only extend your chances of preserving your life, but you will improve the quality of your life with the natural approach. The earth provides energy healing herbs for the benefit of mankind.
hello, I'm Amira Senko Kwali here at As Life Coaching Ministries. We're located at 1921 West Broadway. We've been in the healing business for over 20 years. To order my products, go to www.as314life.com. I'm available 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Namaste.
You're watching Dr. Abira and Kofa. #DRASK. #Queen of Weirdos.